Hello guys, oh my gosh, what's this? A new location behind me, yeah. I moved back into college, in case you couldn't tell. And now that I'm done moving in, I figured I'd take a break and just share you my thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy. I just saw this movie the other day, and due to busyness of moving, I didn't get a chance to review it before, and that light shouldn't be distracting now. I didn't, because I was moving in, I didn't get a chance to talk about it before, but now I'm ready to talk about it. So, this is the latest of many, 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 many movies in this Marvel Cinematic Universe. But unlike the other Marvel movies, this one I really don't know that much about the Guardians. Like, I read like one issue of Guardians and like the handful of Infinity Gauntlet comics, but that's about it as far as my knowledge with the cosmic universe goes. Like, I was really skeptical about this movie. I was, just because it was a new group, I was skeptical because it was a new, not so experienced writers. The director hadn't exactly done anything incredible. He'd done Scooby-Doo, he had done Movie 42, a movie which is really dumb and really stupid, and it's entertainingly stupid, but it's stupid nonetheless. So, going into this movie, I was skeptical, and before I go, so let me just quickly sum up what I think of the other Marvels. They're all fun. I all enjoy them except for Iron Man 2 and the Hulk, which were forgettable. Thor was okay. Everything else I thought was fun. I really enjoyed Iron Man and Captain America 1, but those are the only real standouts. Everything else is either fun or okay. And this movie was really entertaining. Like, this is probably the first time in a while where I've watched a superhero movie and been entertained. And when you look at all these dark and brooding movies that come out, like Man of Steel, The Dark Knight Rises, Amazing Spider-Man 2, the fact that we just had a fun, lighthearted superhero movie was pretty nice. And it was done well. And the weird thing is, I should hate this movie. It has the simplest, most generic, most cliche story of any Marvel movie I've seen. It has the least amount of lasting appeal. Like, I'm probably not gonna. This is one of those films I feel like I can see myself watching again and again. Again, most generic, most cliche story, especially in the last third. It is so dumb and so goofy. These characters have any personality or emotional depth they give any of the characters in the movie is very generic and cliche. The world is so quirky and weird, they just throw it right at you. And unlike Winter Soldier, this film doesn't really have that good direction. But I really, really dug this movie. And I think part of it was just that fun factor that's been missing. Like, I mean, like, literally, the beginning of this movie, Star-Lord's, like, walking on this planet, and he brings out his cassette player, and he's, like, listening to 80s music, and he's dancing around, and nothing that fun has happened. So it's nice to have fun. A lot of it also has to do with the comedy. This is the first time, I think this is the first time in a while where I've watched a superhero movie and laughed out. Like, there was a lot of really good comedy, like, and the thing is, I've seen summer blockbusters try to do a lot of comedy, and in some cases it hasn't worked. Like Transformers, anytime which is a dumb, fun summer movie, but whenever they do comedy, it doesn't work. It's so dumb and it falls flat on its face, but it works. The characters in here are so much fun. I mean, there's not much to them, but they're all just really fun. They all just have really great, quirky personalities. And they just, again, they mainly just play them for laughs, but the laughs are so good that you just enjoy them. And I think part of it also is due to the fact that they're assholes. Like, these are asshole superheroes. I mean, we have all these kind, somewhat cocky or bombastic superheroes, but we've never had this straight-up asshole superhero. And a lot of these guys are just straight-up assholes. And there is something amusing about having all these assholes having to come together and fight evil. And in case you're wondering, again, probably some of the best stuff in this movie was just seeing them sit around arguing with each other. It was great. My favorite was Rocket. Just the amount of shit that came out of his mouth every second was great. Like, everyone was building up Rocket prior to this movie coming out. Like, oh my gosh, Rocket's gonna be so cool. Oh my gosh, a talking raccoon. I'm like, big deal. But it really, really worked. And again, once again, I gotta give Marvel credit for taking some really dumb idea that shouldn't have worked, and it worked. And also, the other characters weren't that interesting, though. I mean, Merle, although there was this one character who's played by the guy who plays Merle in Walking Dead, he was amusing. Thanos is in it, he looks cool. The villains were kind of weak, though. That's kind of one issue I've had of these Marvel movies, is that they haven't had the most interesting of villains. I mean, Winter Soldier had a pretty cool villain, but he was only in there for a while. Iron Man 3's villain, if you've seen Iron Man 3, you know what the problem with the villain is. Or you can, or understand why, or if you read reviews, you can find out why. I don't want to spoil it in the off chance someone hasn't seen it, but yeah, villain here's not that interesting. Effects are good. The soundtrack is good. I think that's another thing that makes this movie so much fun, is the amount of 80s soundtrack in here. Like, just seeing them go to a planet and just hearing 80s music, it's really weird, and it shouldn't work, but I guess because this movie is so dumb, it just fits the really dumb tone of this movie. And I guess, but yeah, this is like, it may not be the most well-made Marvel movie I've ever seen. In fact, odds are this is going to be a one-shot deal. Like, I honestly don't think this is one of those movies I'm going to watch again. I feel like if I watch it again, I might start picking it apart. But for a one-time deal, just as a fun summer blockbuster, it works so well. It's like, if you just turn your brain off, like, I know you shouldn't turn your brain off, but this is one of those fun turn your brain off movies. Like, it is just so entertaining. Like, it's very clear the critics had fun with this movie, because it's like, if you see the Metacritic score, it's like a 77 on Metacritic. That's like, I think the last time a Marvel movie got that high a score was Iron Man, and I think part of it is just there's this sense of fun that's been lacking in superhero movies. But again, like, I think the one downside of this is that it's just fun. Like, it's a one-time deal. Like, this isn't like a deep movie like The Winter Soldier, where I could just watch it again and again and get more out of it each time. But again, if my opinion changes, I'll rewrite my review of it. But as of right now, it's really fun. And I guess my only concern is that they're doing a sequel, and I can't really see you doing a sequel. I mean, James Gunn, in an interview, he said that he saw this as just a one-off thing, and I agreed. I mean, yes, it did sort of set up some Thanos and Infinity Gauntlet stuff, but it was more to the side. This was more just fun, standalone story. Introduced a bit of concepts, but not really. Like, just the way this film was set up, it really doesn't lend itself to a sequel. You could do a sequel, but it very much feels like a one-off. In fact, I don't even think Marvel realized how much it was going to do. Like, because they announced there was a sequel coming like a couple weeks before the movie came out. So my guess is it went over really well at test screenings, and they decided to make a sequel. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do when they do a sequel. But I digress. So I wouldn't recommend this movie to you if you are one of those people who likes a lot of substance and depth to their films, because you're not going to find it here. If you're a diehard Marvel fan, you've probably already seen it, but check it out anyway. If you like dumb, fun movies, like movies that are just, if you just like fun summer blockbusters, you should go see this. Like, it's just a really fun movie. And if you want more in-depth, more sophisticated opinion on this movie, I'm going to have a link to my written review in the description below. And I can't really think of anything else to say, except this is probably like one of the most fun. I can't recall the last time I had this much fun watching a superhero movie, so you should definitely go check it out. And before I sign out, one more thing. I did see The Giver as well a couple days ago. I'm going to probably do my review of that tomorrow or soon, so stay tuned for that, along with something else Star Wars related. So until then, this is JStar60 signing out.